Okay, Discover South Florida is coming to you live. Actually, got to click live on the Instagram one. Sorry about that. Okay, so Discover South Florida is coming.
Take two.
from horizontal, vertical, up, down, whatever. If you're seeing us, you know we're here and we are live. And thank you for tuning in because it's been a very interesting month so far for a number of reasons. Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, alongside myself, John Laws of Discover South Florida. Larry, we've heard about it for so long that, oh my God, if this Zoran Mamdani socialist wins mayor of New York, everybody's going to leave in droves. They're all coming to Florida, so on and so forth. So the election's over. Mamdani won. From what you've seen so far, are you personally noticing a difference yet in the level of interest in people coming down from New York?
So there have been phone calls.
There have been phone calls. Okay.
Yeah, there have been phone calls. Is it like droves of humans? Not so much. And I'd say I've talked to a number of realtors since this has happened. And, I think the sellers in our market want to believe this more than the realtors actually believe this is going to have this major impact. I think it's true. We're going to get an influx of people. I just don't know if it's going to be at a level that has a material impact on our market. I'm sure it's going to have some level of impact, but I don't know if it's going to move the needle dramatically. I think that's the thing to remember here. And I think a lot of sellers are really hoping for that, or wanting to believe it, or believing it is coming. And it might. It just hasn't transpired exactly how one would think it could if people were reacting this way. But hey, there's stats here. Let's just talk stats. There's where did I see this? There's some article that said 9% of people in New York City said if Mamdani won, they would leave. 9% translates to, I'm doing this from top of my head, translates to what, 700,000 people moving to Florida. So maybe a good portion of them were just talking smack.
Well, I was going to say, it's New York. Come on, who talks more trash in New York? Let's be fair.
But I mean, hey, even if 4% came or whatever, that's a substantial amount of humans. And South Florida's probably has the most to gain. Probably. I've had conversations with people from New York that have told me they've called in kind of more of, I would say, an overreaction to this, and say, hey, I need to get a place in Florida. And so then we talk through how and why, and it's not clear to me that they really thought it through. It's just this reaction of okay, so you're going to set up residence here, you're coming down because the tax situation, so on and so forth. And then the conversation's well, kind of, I just want to have a place there and I can't really leave. I have a business here. So, so then it's well, then you just want a place here. So that's no different than a year ago. You know what I mean? You just have this emotional reaction to what just happened. And now you feel like you should have this security net, if you will, prepared. And that's, I'd say that's been my experience. Now, there's always been people relocating. I just had a conversation with someone today who has built a big company. They're expecting to make a lot of money sometime next year. They're selling or they are being acquired or whatever. And so January 1, they have to be in Florida, and they have to be there because they're setting up residency and they need 6+ months there. And then they sell their company, and then the tax situation is substantially better than if they were in New York, right? And so that's always been happening, though. That conversation I had today has nothing to do with Mamdani. It has everything to do with taxes were already extremely high in New York City, right? And that's what we've been benefiting from for a long time. What else did they say here, though? Right? There was some other commentary here. Some reporter reported more than 100 million in signed contracts from New Yorkers to buy in Florida. Nearly doubling the firm's volume from the same period last year. Oh, this is a Miami-based BH Group, right? So they're suggesting that they're getting an influx, almost double the influx. Now, this is, again, Miami-based company, so Miami probably feeling the biggest bump here. South Florida, Boca Raton, Palm Beach County, Broward County, maybe secondary, but that's interesting, right?
Well, yeah, and I keep looking at it, and I try not to ever get caught up in the panic and the doom and gloom and everything else. And from a couple of people I had talked to with connections, all they had heard was the possibility of people who were generally snowbirds. At the worst, they were just going to sell their New York estate and just move down to Florida and be done with it. So, would you imagine seeing a lot of that as well?
So that's a thing. And the other thing is I like, there's always been this theme of like New York is dead or dying, right. And it's just like, I grew up in New Jersey, an hour away from New York. I have a lot of friends that live and work in New York, and I would tell you that is not how people who really live and work in the city feel about the city, right? It's just not the case. New York is New York. It's a symbol to the world. It's the real deal. So I don't think New York is going anywhere either way. And I think it's always going to be this strong, powerful financial city or tech city or whatever you want to call it. It would probably benefit from maybe a different policy, but whatever. Who are we to comment on that?
Oh, I know, right? Which it's and I'm not staying out of it just for the sake of, not being controversial, but it's like, I'm not from the Northeast. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know how hard it is to live right now. So it's not my place to comment on any of that.
Sure.
However, I can't help but smirk at some of the stuff I've seen, applauding realtors who are trying to not let this potential opportunity go to waste. Where I see in Times Square, like electronic billboards of, contact us down here, Wall Street South, so on and so forth. I don't know if, Related Ross has anything to do with that because, Stephen Ross has ties everywhere. So it would be a conflict of interest, really. But, there's still plenty of people that look to gain from this opportunity or, panic, however you want to look at it. So I just, again, I'm just amused by the whole thing because depending on what channel you turn on, who you talk to, everything's sunshine and rainbows or the sky is falling. There is no in between.
Speaking of people trying to jump on the bandwagon, our buddy here, Mayor Scott Singer, right? He said he's actively recruiting New York companies with a direct pitch, and I think we have like a Boca Raton has a Times Square billboard right now, right? Highlighting 30% lower. Yeah. 30% lower office costs than Manhattan, 0 state income tax, and the lowest property tax rate among major Florida cities, while touting Boca's growing business ecosystem, 40 publicly traded headquarters and a proximity to 3 international airports, under the slogan, productivity in paradise. Actually, there's a video here. This is great. And I bet it's on his Facebook page.
I was going to say, share it. I want to see it.
Let's see if I can pull it up. It's taking a second to load. I should have caught this earlier. Here we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can't really see it. This is him. Okay, so he's just talking about how taxes are better. He went live. Cool. Yeah. So we will see. Time will tell. And the other, I'll leave it at this. There may be some overreaction at the moment, and there may be some real people making moves, but also we might feel more as time goes on here. Like if people continue to be unhappy with Mamdani, and they feel the effects of his policies in a way that drives them to want to leave, then we're going to benefit from this. So time may tell. This may take 6 months or a year, and so maybe we'll just continue to have a net influx from New York because of this. So that's it.
And the other thing too, it's like I find it so funny that it's a foregone conclusion that people who leave New York, regardless of the circumstance, that they're going to Florida. I mean, what, you go to Texas, you can't go to Arizona? Like, no, we're going to Florida.
That's so funny. Oh, this is also interesting. WPTV dug through Florida corporate filings and found that in just the past few days, at least 27 New York companies filed to expand their operations to Florida, while 9 more filed to relocate entirely. So, hey, so there's like data here suggesting that this is happening. So back to my point earlier, like, yeah, we're getting phone calls and yeah, we're talking to people and helping people do transactions. I just don't know how much of an impact.
Seriously, right. I mean, you'd be foolish not to at least prepare yourself. I mean, life's only as good as plan B, right? So
there you go.
Know, if worse does come to worse, then it's like, okay, well, we're going to move to our Florida location. Have a nice day.
That's it. That's it.
All right. So since we've been talking about Boca Raton, it never ends with this controversial mega project, the government campus that we've done a couple of videos on that looks really promising. Just this amazing 31-acre city hall site that has been shrunk down, my God, to less than 8 acres now. That's the latest from Perrin Frisbee. Dude, that's like, what is that? The building and a little more? I don't even know.
If they in hindsight, I bet you everyone who like wanted this project to go through, whatever, internally / at Terra Frisbee, they may have rethought the approach here. They may have said, like, let's just put a building up here, or let's just put a building here, right? And just did little by little, and eventually it would have all been done.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, right.
Like, okay, let's just expand the Brightline area real quick. That's like the path of least resistance, probably. And then
you know what? I mean, that may actually be the better way to do it anyway.
Agreed. And
this isn't like a Band-Aid where, the best thing to do is just rip it right off.
Well, yeah, and right, totally. So like it was cool for publicity and to talk a big game, but wow, they didn't get the same support that they had expected here. And again, like I think you and I,
or the pushback. I don't even think it was like the lack of support. It was just the amount of pushback.
Oh, crazy pushback. I think you and I both agree. Like my personal opinion is like direct democracy is kind of interesting. It's like, hey, let's vote for every decision that's made instead of random political figures making decisions without our real input. Although the general public maybe isn't the best to be making decisions all the time for highly technical things. But anyway, so it's going to vote. So that's the but it's going to vote at 8 acres versus 31 acres. So and so March 2026, that's the update. That's when it's set for a vote, right? So
I mean, weren't they originally, they were supposed to have broken ground by now, based on what we had talked about early in the year, wasn't it?
I mean, they were a lot of. I think if everybody just like rubber stamped it and moved forward, yeah, totally, yeah.
Wow. All right, well, I mean, and I guess in fairness, it's not like they can't conduct business or anything. The world is still going on. Not everything has stopped. This is just, something to kind of update it, make it look a little better.
So that's basically the update for anybody who's been following along. We've gone from 31 acres mega project in downtown, well, not downtown, City Hall in Boca Raton, which is just like on the just west of downtown, which would have been cool expansion, to new plans, 769 apartments, 186 condos, 150,000 square feet of office, 180 room hotel, and 15.4 acres of public parks. That's the latest proposal, which 15 acres of parks, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. As long as it's like I just hope it's an epic park. Like that would be awesome, And by the way, like, I don't know, that's a lot of stuff anyway. 186 condos, 769 apartments. I mean, it's not.
That is still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot of stuff. So I get it. Oh, here, let me see if I can throw this on the screen. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
There it is.
Yeah, actually, that works perfect. So this is the existing plan. So you can kind of see, okay, so for anybody's benefit, City Hall was right here. So this sounds like this is still going to be kind of the same thing. Oh, actually, that'll be interesting. The neighbors who border here, because there's like a little neighborhood right here. They'll actually have more parks and stuff close by instead of big buildings. They probably enjoy that. And then, so for example, Brightline and everything's like up this way. So it looks like they're rebuilding this stuff here. Let's see if we can see more. Okay, here's some park images. This will be cool. Lots of pickleball.
Well, is it pickleball or paddle?
I don't think it's paddle. I think this is pickle and tennis. I think it's, yeah. So, okay. And then, okay, this is the other side. So this is where, and this is what I was getting at. Like, I guess it's what road is this? East of this road right here. This was all industrial and like just needs a facelift, man. And so if they're going to do a lot of work here and put some really cool things, I'm super supportive of this. Here we go. Okay. This is a good way. Multi-purpose field. The Banyan Village. They saved the banyan trees, John.
Well, you know what? And from the get-go, that was one of your biggest concerns.
That was my only sticking point on the deal.
You think they were cutting down the rainforest if we were getting rid of the banyan trees?
This is a proposal that looked okay. So, okay, got it. So, all right, here we go. So this is the existing layout. This is the new layout. So they're removing. So basically, this is a whole park. Wow.
Yeah.
And then the other side is not. I'm cool with this. I can work with this. I would make a bet there's resistance on this, but
no, dude, you could have one building and there's going to be people that are, that's just the given.
I'm cool with this. This is this image. Oh no. Okay. Got it. So now I'm following here. So this is the southern end of the complex. This is the southern end. This is Palmetto Park Road here.
Oh, okay.
So this is west. I'm sorry. This is east going this way because this is the train track. So this is Palmetto Park Road. So here, okay. So you're kind of looking at it from the other directions. It's easier to look at it this way, in my opinion. This is Palmetto Park Road. Lots of parking, buildings, condos, hotels, retail, etc., all on this side, and then Tri-Rail above it, or not Tri-Rail, Brightline above it, and then huge park and City Hall kind of built within that, all one big building. I can get on board with this. I mean,
they're going to turn. I guess I've forgotten. So they're turning the old City Hall spot. They're turning that into a parking.
They're turning that into a garden walk.
Oh,
this is where it is right now.
Okay,
it's on this side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right here. You can see my mouse, right? I'm not like,
I see it.
Okay. Yeah. Here's different layouts. Look, so these are different options. So this is why it's throwing me off. Right? So, okay. So now, you see what I'm saying? So garden walk or tennis or paddle. As long as they everybody agrees Banyan Village stays. Look, there's Banyan Village. Every option at Banyan Village has got to stick around. So look, Banyan Village. All right. I'm on board with this. I'm going to vote yes for this. I'm sure. Oh boy. I just said that publicly. This is going to be really, unless I learn other things, and I'm open to teaching or learning. And there's been plenty of people that have reached out to try to teach me. I haven't called them back yet.
Really? Is that true?
Oh yeah, because we've had too many conversations on this. So I'll call him. I'm a little busy right now, guys. I'll call you.
Yeah, no. In his defense, he is busy.
I know you guys all want to tell me everything about this, and so I'll talk to you soon enough, and I'll give everyone else the update. So once we learn here, yeah. Look at this. Cool. Okay. Anything else we need to update people on this?
I think we're good. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, maybe not quite 31 acres worth, but we've got an idea. It's still very fluid, but it looks like,
here we go. Let's just talk about this. Okay. All right. So what's next? January 13th, 2026, special election for 2 citizen-initiated ballot measures on leasing city-owned land. Okay, special election. And then March 10th, city referendum on the One Boca project itself. Through May 2026, interim agreement extended for due diligence and public feedback. Okay, so this thing isn't getting done until end of next year, right?
Yeah.
Further steps include traffic studies, financial analysis by CBRE, and third-party review to ensure no public subsidy beyond market rates. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
and they've revised this 3 times since it was first selected in 2024. So, yeah.
What, from when Tara and Frisbee were first chosen to come up with the layout, and they. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them on their toes, I guess. Well,
that's it, man. That's it.
Okay, so this is one that I've just been itching to talk about because honestly, I don't know enough about it. If this is a good idea, bad idea, or even if it's going to be a thing. But if you've seen any of the recent news, reportedly Donald Trump has hinted at the possibility of a 50-year mortgage. 50 years is a long time, Larry. That's half a century. My God, based on the average American life expectancy, which is in like the mid 70s. So say you buy your first home in your mid 20s, you'll die right by the time you pay off the mortgage. Am I wrong here? That's what that says to me. Let's just pretend this actually happens because God knows it could. Is this a good idea?
This is interesting. I would say I could see pros and cons to this.
Well, so, for example, the number crunching, the people throwing out there, and I was kind of doing my own little research because I was curious, just throwing out some of the numbers. I saw that a 7% mortgage, doing a 30-year versus a 50-year on a $400,000 house would only save you like $258 a month. And in the end, you would still end up paying like $400,000 more or whatever by the end. Holy hell. Just for $250 a month less. That's not that much.
So supporters, like they say, the FHFA director, Bill Pulte, if that's how you say his last name, described the idea as a complete game changer for younger buyers locked out of ownership. Critics, however, warn it could backfire, doubling total interest and inflating prices if the housing supply doesn't increase. So from my perspective, this is the immediate reaction to this is younger buyers can jump in like right now and then get a 50-year loan and it'll be more affordable. Okay. But if we don't increase supply because we're creating more demand, right? Mm-hmm. By doing that, we're creating more demand, then prices go up and then it's a wash, right? So really the core metric here is supply and demand, as it's always been. This is market fundamentals. And so if this really does help a bunch of young buyers or other people that otherwise can't afford homes get into the market, that means we're going to be selling real estate like crazy, right? And there's going to be high demand. Thus, prices go up.
Right.
So, this is the same argument as drop the interest rate, right? It's like drop the interest rate. More people can afford to buy a home at whatever price point. More people come into the market. Prices go up because it's more affordable. Because how do people buy houses? They buy houses based on what they can afford per month. So, while I think the initial reaction is like, yeah, 50-year mortgage helps you buy a house cheaper. In the end, it probably just inflates prices. So I think it just moves around the moves the problem around, or just like it just relocates or just kicks the can or whatever you want to call it. The real issue that needs to be addressed, which is if prices keep climbing, how it's because housing supply isn't high enough, right? And that's that, or the cost to build homes is too high, and so maybe there's some issue there that needs to be addressed. So like, again, these are like from like Trump has talked about this too. It's like, hey, it's just like very complicated to build a house for a big developer in some areas, which I don't know if I agree with or not. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I guess my comment here is like, it's like, oh, well, make developing homes easier, make it less costly, make it take, instead of 2 years to build a house, like as far as getting approvals, et cetera, now you can do it in, 60 days or something. Okay.
Right.
Assuming things are like they're building quality homes and like we have the checks and balances in place. But these things are probably the things that should be worked on versus just like changing the rules so that way we can mask the greater problem, which is likely supply. Right. Now, South Florida is unique, and where we live is just like
people are still going to move anyway. Yeah.
Well, also it's just like there's not a lot of land to build houses, so like we just gotta like build more condos, and we got to build more affordable apartments. And again, going back to this, it's like kind of hard because it's so expensive to build these things. And so the only way we build these things are through tax deferred strategies like the Live Local Act, or tax exempt strategies like the Live Local Act, or because the Live Local Act tries to do all the things we just discussed, right? Make the process of getting the right to build faster, right? Because it skirts through some of the red tape, as we talked about. And then it also tries to say, hey, we'll give you a reduced tax basis or whatever you want to call it. We're going to give you tax incentives. And then it allows developers to kind of build slightly more cheaply because of these things in theory, right? Or offer cheaper rents for that reason. And so that to me feels like a better solution than 50-year mortgages. Now, again, I don't know if everybody's
I'm okay with spitballing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like I'm okay with just throwing out ideas and stuff. Some of these, especially when you're like the leader of the country, it's like I don't know if I would just kind of throw that out there. But when you just have flight of ideas all the time, so things get put out there a little more. And I was just like, oh man, and obviously everybody's a critic when it comes to the current president and whatever. But I was just like, God, 50 years. Come on. It's like we don't even work that long normally.
This is interesting. So they talk about, like you just kind of mentioned it, at 6.25% rate on a $450,000 loan, 30 years, you're paying $2,771 a month, right? And in total interest, you're paying about $550,000. 50-year loan. This is wild. 50-year term, you're paying $2,452. To your point, like
that's like
$300 a month less. It's material for some things, but not really. You'd think 50 years doubling it would be almost doubling it would be like cut the cost in half, but it's not really doing that, right? And so it helps a little bit. And so, but to your point, you're paying $1 million in interest over the course of that loan. That's a huge number. But again, like think about this though too. Like most people have a loan on their home and they have a loan forever, right? Most people don't like pay off their loan. They refinance and they use that cash and they do things, blah, 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 whatever. Or they go buy another home and start the whole process over again. So they're paying millions of dollars in interest anyway, right? It's just like, okay, I'm not super upset about this like interest number that everybody freaks out about, because you'd be paying it anyway if you went and refinanced or if you went and bought another home, because most people move in 7 years or whatever it is. And so like, whatever. But like the change in, to your point earlier, it's like the change in how much you're paying doesn't really it's not super exciting
and we're not even accounting for, PMI or other costs that may be involved. I'm like, you're not even saving that much.
Yeah. And then it says here, historical precedent, some private U.S. lenders offered 40 to 50-year ARMs, which isn't the best thing. So maybe this is a 50-year fixed, which is more interesting, which is kind of what again, we'll get into this, but 40, 50-year ARMs pre-2008. Defaults were high, prompting what we have today, right? So, yeah. The international context, and this is what you and I were talking offline earlier this morning, which is 50-year loans are niche, but exist in Japan, the UK, France, Spain, Sweden, and Canada, mostly through specialized lenders or low rate environments. So internationally, 50-year mortgages have shown mixed success. They've helped some buyers enter the market by lowering monthly payments 15 to 25%, as seen in Japan and the UK, but often at the cost of doubling total interest and slowing equity growth, which, part of me is like, hey, I'm cool with options, Yeah. As we look at this, I'm like, I don't think it's going to flood the market because it's not super, super exciting. It helps. It's a little help. It's a different option. And you could do it. So,
and maybe maybe to your point about how if let's pretend that suddenly everybody got excited and started buying homes, then the demand is up. You still don't have that supply, prices go up. So maybe that's part of their plan. In theory, would be, we'll generate a little more interest that, we'll kind of get it moving with this alternative. I don't know.
Yeah. So it says countries like Spain and Sweden later scaled back such loans after seeing rising debt and inflated home prices. Overall, the model can temporarily boost affordability. And this is what we were talking about. Temporarily, in the moment, sounds good, but tends to raise long-term financial risk and drive prices up if the housing supply doesn't increase. So, yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of all the kids, kids that are still whining about paying off their student loans and getting the debt relief and everything. They wouldn't have taken them out if they knew it was going to be this bad. It's like, well, how about a 50-year mortgage? It's like another one of those, like, I didn't know I was going to be paying it forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here's the thing I was going to make a comment on earlier that I think most people don't understand. These long-term loans don't really exist because naturally in the market. They're created on some level and supported by federal government, right? Mm-hmm. So if the federal government, even at a 30-year loan, didn't support a 30-year loan, most businesses wouldn't do this, right? And so it says here, next steps, determine if the GSEs or FHA/VA can legally back loans over 30 years, and then draft potential legislation or a pilot program, evaluate risk-based pricing and consumer safeguards, right? There's no confirmation on if this is even happening or going to get done, but you need to make this legal through the federal government. This isn't a thing where it just is oh, here's a good idea. The private sector is just going to create this product and start selling it. Because if that was the case, it'd already be happening, right?
You could put any number you want on it. Yeah.
Yeah. You need you need the federal government to back this. On some level, you need the insurance of the federal government. You need Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to buy these freaking things. Right now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is not buying a 50-year loan. That's not a part of the deal. They buy 30-year conforming loans, or they buy conforming loans, right? And that could be 30 years. It could be different things. But if you threw a 50-year loan at them, I'm pretty sure you go look at what they're buying, and they're going to be like, no, that doesn't check the box, right? So we can't buy this thing. And if Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac can't buy loans, well, then it becomes what they call non-conforming, which then means interest rates are higher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it becomes unaffordable. So again, in order for lenders to lend, they need to be able to sell these loans after they lend the money, right? And this is why it was created, because this is why the government created these quasi-government entities so long ago, because what would happen in the olden days is certain areas or sectors of the country would just run out of money to loan for homes. And then there'd be no financing there because there was no big entity buying all these freaking loans, giving them the money back to go do another loan, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you have these entities buying these loans, and they have this checklist that you have to follow. And so if you follow the checklist, they buy the loan. If you don't follow the checklist, they don't buy the loan. And then you have to keep it, or you have to find specialized guys that'll do this. And that's called non-conforming, right? Mm-hmm. And so non-conforming would be 50-year loan right now, right? And again, the average private sector person who would do a non-conforming loan, 50-year loan, is probably jacking up the interest rate, doing weird things. For example, I'm pretty sure this is where they talked about earlier, where they said there were ARM products, adjustable rate mortgages, that were offered pre-2008. These were non-conforming loan products. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac weren't buying these things and giving liquidity to the market, the finance market. So anyway, long story short, that's a rant. But
no,
it's like,
I mean, it's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just do that. And again, so you like subsidize, the taxpayers are subsidizing this on some level. Just remember that. That's what's happening. Like, so that's what's happening. So it's the government is subsidizing and or protecting and or initiating the ability. Remember when the 2008 collapse happened? Who bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac?
Well, the government.
Taxpayers. Yeah. So like this is how this, and then they went into what they call conservatorship, right? And that was because everybody was defaulting and they were illiquid. They had no more money. And so the taxpayers had to go bail these guys out because like, if you don't bail them out, well, then we're in complete mess. So long story short, like this is a risk to taxpayers. And so like, I don't know how you should feel about that. And increasing debt in general in the United States, probably
right. When it's like, I'm seeing we've been at records and how much it increases every single day. Yeah. It's like, let's take on more debt. I thought we were trying to actually lower it for once.
Yeah, here we go. Post 2010, the Dodd-Frank Act, which is what went into place after the 2008 crisis, Congress and regulators banned qualified mortgages or QM loans longer than 30 years. Okay, so they did have it approved and then they banned it, meaning any 40 or 50-year product today would fall under what I just said, a non-QM category, non-qualified mortgage, non-conforming loan. And so thus higher rates and stricter underwriting. So, yeah. So they said FHA experiment 2008. The FHA briefly used 40-year terms for loan modifications to help struggling homeowners refinance in 2008, but the program was short-lived and never adopted for new purchase sources. Now we want to go to 50. So, yeah. And then during the 2008 crisis, many of these long-term products defaulted at high rates, roughly 1 in 5 borrowers, as home values dropped and adjustable rates reset. So they were later linked to risky lending practices and what most people believe fueled some of the crash. It was one of the things, right? Yeah. Yep.
Well, again, it's like I'm okay with spitballing, having ideas, but
cool.
It seems. It
sounds cool. It makes headlines, and Trump is great at making headlines.
Yeah, no one's arguing that point. All right. So, if we can't take it here, we could still try to go to Mars, Elon Musk leading the way. But we also have an aerospace supplier in Deerfield Beach who is doubling its facility to handle rising demand for aviation parts, a move that highlights the continued growth of South Florida's high-tech manufacturing and logistics sector. I find that interesting because I figured they'd be up more on the Space Coast, but, they're in Deerfield Beach. Anytime you hear, aeronautical and that sort of thing. Plain Stocks LLC. They signed a long-term lease to expand its footprint inside the Hillsborough Technology Center. Wow, doubling their space. So the company plans to move into the expanded space in Q3 of next year, mainly to add warehousing, distribution, and technical support areas. Okay.
South Florida continuing to just grow, right?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like most of the time when we're talking about the expansions and whatnot, it's usually with either something in West Palm Beach, Ross related Ross, working the Wall Street South angle, or it's in Brick, Boca Raton, but rarely have we seen anything. It's like, hey, Deerfield Beach is doing stuff, Hillsborough, so on and so forth. So, it's growth is happening.
Did you know that the Hillsborough Park Technology Center is 75 acres and features 6 multi-tenant industrial buildings totaling over 830,000 square feet? Yeah.
I'm trying to picture where that is.
Yeah, here, I'm going to show you on the map here in a second. As soon as my stuff loads.
I thought we were getting like that huge fiber optic expansion or whatever.
Yeah, we're waiting for Boca to expand. Like, look at how long it's taking to load this thing. It's just like unbelievable. Here, so this is the spot. This is where Plain Stock lives. So this is literally like, just south of Boca Raton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I know this building. This pretty big place. Yeah. Know this well. Used to live right across the canal. Yep. So this is Hillsborough, right? And 95 right here, East Deerfield, basically Boca. Yeah. Yep. So big property. Considered one of Broward County's most advanced industrial parks, which is interesting. The park's developers, Butters Construction and Development and Bristol Group, maintain an impressive 94% occupancy, and JLL data shows that less than 1.1% of Broward's comparable industrial inventory currently under construction. So showing how limited new supply has become. So the demand in Broward and South Florida for this type of warehouse product is strong, is super strong. And you got big players like Blackstone and these other huge industrial players owning this product, and it's very coveted to own like a ton of industrial space or big space, right? Yeah. So this company's been in business for more than 30 years, as we mentioned earlier. They're family owned. They supply aerospace and defense components worldwide. It credits growth to its tech-driven inventory system and plans to hire more staff, inventory management, sales, etc. South Florida's aviation aerospace sector is significant for a significant economic driver, supporting 70,000 jobs with an average annual salary of $125,000, well above regional average, which is interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good to know that we have stuff going on there, and it's good to know that climate change isn't slowing down South Florida's waterfront real estate.
No, sir.
I'm sure you've been going on and on about how we were going to be underwater soon. Well, you know what? It's 2025, and we're still here.
It's funny. I feel like nobody cares. Like nobody's like making decisions based on this. That's at least my reaction. I don't know.
And we've talked about like subsidence and things like that are sinking condos in Fort Lauderdale or actually it was more Miami. And how that's a global phenomenon too, in all those coastal cities worldwide that have all those mega high rises and they're sinking into the ground. But yeah, I mean, we're still here. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the Midwest, but I swear to God, I remember learning as a kid. Like I was under the impression California was supposed to be underwater by now, not because of rising sea levels, but like the San Andreas Fault, there were earthquakes and it was all going to be gone. I mean, I remember watching science programs on that. It's like, man, the doom and gloom was always around. It's just,
now California is just on fire. No big deal. No big deal.
I mean, hey, maybe it needs to sink, so we'll put it out.
This is interesting. In April 2023, we know about this. Fort Lauderdale was hit by a once in a millennium rainstorm. Over 2 feet of water fell in just 2 hours, or in just hours. Yeah. Instead of slowing down, the city doubled down on the water, launching billions in waterfront development and flood protection projects. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting how Fort Lauderdale got nailed and like certain surrounding areas just didn't feel it. Like it's just like that one little spot just dumped. Maybe they put too much of that aluminum in the sky right over it. No, you know what I'm talking about? The chemtrails, they put a little extra over Fort Lauderdale that morning.
I just,
you're not allowed to do that in Florida anymore. It's a law.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that, John?
No, I did not know that.
I'm not allowed to
go to the trouble of legislating that.
Cloud seed, I think it's called, right? Or something like that anymore. They made a law. You're not allowed to do it.
All right. Well, I'm not. I won't.
So don't do it. So don't do it, John. Don't go out there. You saw what happened to Fort Lauderdale after they cloud seeded. So anyway, I'm just kidding.
No, I won't do it. I'm just laughing building on water. It's like, again, taking advantage of a situation. Don't let an opportunity go to waste. Anytime this stuff gets flooded, it's like, hey, new waterfront property.
Yeah. And they got $1.6 billion to fortify their infrastructure after this happened. So
Like
12 billion.
Fortify Lauderdale. That was the name of the plan. That's clever.
Fortify Lauderdale. Yeah, 12 billion in active or planned development, 3 billion in annual waterfront sales, and 20,000 new residences on the way. 20,000 new residences on the way. That's how South Florida responds to a rainstorm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like we're trying to create more supply.
Yeah. Hey. So it feels like it's something to keep in mind when you're buying stuff, but not a super influential piece of decision making, frankly. There's some areas that I would argue might be worth just like really considering if you're okay with, but in general, I think when you're down here, like most people don't consider it. I get some calls where people are like, hey, let's talk about flood zones and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, and it's like, let's talk about it. There's like one house will be in a flood zone. The house next to it won't be in a flood zone, right? There's going to be a house that's directly on the coast.
Weird.
Yeah. There's a house that's 5 miles inland, flood zone. House right on the ocean, not in a flood zone. So I don't know. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. And I would argue like oceanfront storm surge, probably flooding, right? House out west, maybe flooding if there's enough rain. So fortunately, knock on wood, we've had a strong 20 plus years of just like not too crazy storm.
We had a flash flood here like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't like this like ditch we just recovered from that quick, right? So, well, obviously the Boca Raton Club. I was in the Boca Raton
I was going to say that I saw the video,
but I was in the Boca Raton Club a week later, walking through the hallways there. So like they just came back, they just drained all the water out and said, whatever.
It's Florida.
It's Florida. Water comes into our hotel all the time. Just open the drains, let it go down. Yeah.
All right. So since we're talking about homes in expansion, I believe we did a short on this with Florida's Live Local Act. I believe it originally came from, it was sort of an in-depth article from The Real Deal. They had a nice little progress report on the state of Florida's Live Local Act, which has been in effect now for 2 years, and seeing, how many affordable homes have been built in that time. It's added over 3,000 affordable housing units. Supposedly more than 42,000 are still in the pipeline. Developers, lenders, and residents, however, are still debating who the law really helps and whether it's enough. We talk about a lot of developments that have been included as part of the Live Local Act, just the ability to cut the red tape and make these things happen. Your overall assessment up to this point, Larry, your gut feeling on this, have you been happy with the Live Local Act and what it's bringing to South Florida?
I think you and I in general are kind of a little bit more pro like build cool stuff and kind of get rid of the old stuff and, assuming it's
with
not
rare exceptions like banyan trees and iconic sites in Miami, the old strip. I get that.
Yeah. So I think I'm a little bit more pro build cool stuff, build new stuff. And this kind of helps make that happen. Plus, I do think this helps. I mean, 42,000 in the pipeline in Live Local projects. I mean, that says quite a bit, right? Because these guys are required to offer on some level cheaper housing. It's not as cheap as all of us would probably like it to be, but this is a business, and they had to kind of compromise here. And either way, it's subsidized by taxpayers. Like that's what it is. Like we're accepting less tax income or tax revenue in order to get these things going. So we're all paying for it. at some level, right? So like this just goes back to like this shit ain't free.
Right.
So long story short, I think it's good. I think it's helpful. I think we need to do something to make to build more affordable housing, and this is a one solution. We were just talking about this earlier. Like, what should we do? Should we do a 50-year mortgage, or should we do this live local thing? And I think I lean towards do the live local thing to try to help, or maybe both. But this live local thing tries to increase affordability on some level. Now, this is not really inspiring home ownership as much, right? Because this is usually more apartment rental based product. But I still think I think this is net positive. Maybe there's some tweaks and maybe there's other ways to do things. But if you have better ideas out there, we should try to execute on them. This is something that's actually in play right now. So yeah. So let's see. It started in 2023 Live Local Act. So it's been 2 years. I'll say this: there are people that probably really hate this Live Local Act because it helps like get around certain red tape things. Like we were talking about the Galleria Mall, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
in Fort Lauderdale where they were doing.
Yeah, we need to like do an update on that. I haven't heard since I checked on the last one, but that Galleria Mall, like people, like they're probably going to build this thing, and the neighbors are like, wait, we want to not allow you to build this thing, and they're like, no, it's live local. You can't not do it. You can't not allow us, right? So there's like that
massive. It is massive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge, and that guy's got reps in at this, so like you can believe that he's probably going to get this done. So so long story short, it sounds that's exciting from my perspective. They're going to build some epic thing right there. That's really cool.
One of the few looking, in my head, the layout of where that's located. That's one of the few places that, as I always joke about everybody always being upset about the traffic or whatever. When you look how you basically kind of only have 2 entry points to like that, I'm like, for once, I think you have a good argument with the traffic, because I could see that being a total cluster.
Oh, that's got to be a mess. I agree with that. Like that, yeah. You and I are usually like not so worried about the traffic.
I'm saying, but that's like one. It's like I understand where you're coming from. That's gonna suck.
Yeah,
that will definitely suck.
So, yeah. Let's see. The biggest financial incentives comes through tiered property tax exemptions, as we just talked about, right? 100% exemption for apartments rented to households earning below 80% of AMI. 75% exemption for earners, or for those earning 80% to 120% of AMI, often called the missing middle, right? Mm-hmm. So far, the numbers show measurable progress. According to Florida Tax Watch, the act has already produced 3,171 affordable units across 23 properties, with more than 42,000 units in the development pipeline. Nearly half of all upcoming projects are located in Miami-Dade County, followed by Broward at 11% and Palm Beach at 6%. So interesting. Miami-Dade just rocking and rolling here.
And my problem is, I wish, and maybe it was in the article. I mean, I read it. I don't remember if I came across that, but I see, okay, so 3,100 additional units. Is that a lot? You know what I mean? It's like compared to what we were doing before that. Is that like more than there used to be? That doesn't sound like a lot.
No, I agree. It doesn't sound like a lot, but and I don't think it is. Generally speaking, because if you go down lower in our notes here, we have, right, it's Miami-Dade and Monroe counties. They're short by 143,000 units for households earning less than 80% of AMI. So, right. So that's, we have, 40,000 ish, let's call it 30 something thousand ish. And we need 143,000, which is in Miami-Dade and Monroe. So like, long story short, that's a big chunk out of the 143 and 30,000 that's otherwise maybe wouldn't have been built that way. Yeah. So, and again, maybe not all of that is less than 80% earners. So again, maybe you're down to like 15 or something. Let's cut it in half. So it's like it's helping, but man, they need 143,000 units built in order to kind of supply that area with sufficient product, right? And Broward's 85,000 units, and Palm Beach County's 37,000 units. So
That's crazy.
Yep. So that's a pretty big deal, I think, overall. And so I think it's something that will probably stick around, and they'll continue to use it. It says here, challenges and friction points. Despite visible success, the act faces significant pushback and some confusion, financing delays, local resistance, misinformation, uneven enforcement.
And I wonder what they mean by uneven enforcement.
It follows up with, even with preemption authority, some municipalities are testing boundaries, leading to lawsuits that cost developers up to $250,000 despite reimbursement. So the counties are pushing back, and then the developers are suing, and then it costs them $250,000 in X amount of time, and then they can go build. So it sounds like some of the cities or counties are pushing back on this and just like unhappy about it, right? And here's some local resistance. Some cities and counties have opted out of the 75% missing middle exemption, arguing it benefits developers more than renters. Okay, but and then what they're saying is like there's that gap there, the 80 to 120% of AMI, which basically means they can charge a little bit more rent on those, right? So
yeah. Which I was going to say, I aside from that, I don't know what's the alternative. It seems like this is the latest best option.
Yeah, and the state responded to some of this shit and said Florida just approved new charges or new changes to the Live Local Act to stop cities from slowing down affordable housing projects. In 2025, the legislation unanimously passed a new set of developer-friendly amendments, sometimes called Live Local 3.0, aimed at stopping cities and counties from blocking qualified applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the new rules tells the courts to handle these cases faster, limit legal fees, and make it easier for developers to build. So they're kind of adapting this, and it sounds like, unanimously passed. Like it seems like this is a project that most people or most politicians agree on. So let's talk about Jeff Greene.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Jeff Greene in a while. For anyone who's not familiar with him, he's a billionaire developer, and he's suing the city of West Palm Beach. That's not good. Claiming his planned Northwood luxury condos have been unfairly blocked for political reasons. The dispute could reportedly cost the city up to $1 billion. Wow. Okay, so it's a lawsuit demanding approval for his 30-story twin tower condo project on North Flagler Drive, which is in the Northwood district near Curry Park. It's a 4.5-acre site located at 2251 North Flagler Drive. The lawsuit was filed in October after 2 years of project delays since its 2023 planning board gave the initial approval. So this case highlights growing tension between developers and city officials, which I find kind of funny because lately it seems like developers can do whatever the heck they want in West Palm Beach. Not getting a lot of pushback there. I mean, the only one I remember was, Mayor Keith James talking trash about some of the stuff that Palm Beach Atlantic wanted to do with their university. That's the only thing I could think of that I saw anyone saying anything derogatory about developments in West Palm Beach. Am I wrong? I don't see them.
Yeah.
Or they fight or the developers fight amongst themselves. That's it.
This is what. Yeah. So exactly. Greene says the city's dragging their feet on this, right? Approving his final building plans because he believes this is payback because he fought against the city selling 55 acres of public land to billionaire Stephen Ross, related group, Miami Dolphins owner, right? So, yeah. 55 acres of vacant land. Related Ross paid $6.6 million. Just $120,000 per acre.
It's fitting you got the monopoly board behind you because that's all these guys are doing. I mean, this is just, I'm not saying it's a drop in the bucket, but that they'll live to fight another day, but it's like, we're just, I got nothing to do. I'll fight this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got a team, right? They don't even care. This is like, yeah. Greene had agreed to pay $6 million and swap land with city to connect Northwood Road to the soon to be redeveloped Curry Park. Seems like Greene isn't getting along with the city right now.
Well, I wonder if it dates back to when there was the initial fallout when the University of Florida wanted to put their satellite campus in downtown instead of what ultimately has becomes Vanderbilt's project.
Yeah.
I have to imagine there's probably some lingering, resentment because, I guess billion-dollar egos clashing, not getting his name on enough buildings, or who knows what the hell happened. But so I guess
construction's on hold until they resolve this. This is kind of a mess. Like, they should really just come to terms, and it'll be better for everyone, right? Like, move the project along, get things done. Like, let's just be somewhat reasonable, guys, and like just knock this out. Like, I'm not sure what's going on there. There's more to it than we know, right?
Well,
the city's full reasoning for the delay and the alleged downsizing from 350 to 111 feet remains unclear until court documents or future public statements provide more detail. So, this is like I get it. He almost has no choice on this matter, right? Like, this deal is like a disaster if right? Like a financial disaster. Like, this is like 350 to 111 feet. Like, this is like cut by a third, down to a third.
Yeah,
that just doesn't. My bet is that just does not work. Period. And so I think he kind of had no choice. So that's my initial reaction. Like, I just can think about underwriting and just be like, well, we underwrote this, and now we're this, like that. Like, this is so different that like I can't even like begin to like understand a solution here. So, yeah. Who knows though? Well,
all right. I guess I'll just about do it unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, that's it. I'm
good. All right. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.